I was born in Manteo, August 4th, 1925, and I've been a resident of this area for 91, almost 92 years. Manteo was just a small little fishing village, actually with no access from the island except by boat. The bridge wasn't built till 1930, and see, I was born in 25. Well, the island first was almost self-contained. If you wanted vegetables, you raised them. If you wanted fish, you caught them. And we didn't have a whole lot of boat traffic until after the 30s. World War II made a major change immediately to our whole island. The Navy came in, and I think probably started declaring in there around 1941 for the Navy of the building of the barracks and all, and well, actually the whole airport, I guess, really. In July 29th, 1943, I went to Norfolk, Virginia, and was sworn into the U.S. Coast Guard. And actually, with all due respect, the Coast Guard is a great organization, and I've always admired it, and I was glad to be a part of it, but probably made one of my first major mistakes in my life when I got sent to Nags Head Coast Guard Station and resented it. I could probably have gone to most any school that I wanted to go. And when I was asked if I would, what school would I like to go to, I said, there's only one thing I want out of this Coast Guard: out. And that did not go over very well. So I was a first-class seaman. Then I came out of the Coast Guard a first-class seaman. 9 o'clock on Monday morning, March 31st, 1948, I accepted a job with Kellogg's Supply Company. Kellogg's Supply Company, when I first went to work with it, we started sending some materials to Hatteras Island, but it was done by a boat that used to come into the airport. We could go out to that dock and load boats, and they would carry the materials down to the Hatteras Island locations. Then after we started seeing how much materials they really needed and wanted down there, we surveyed the possibility, and it worked out that from up here where the Catholic Church is today, beginning of Highway 12 south, at that point down to Organ Inlet, and then on the other side of Organ Inlet to Rodanthe, there was no road, no pavement. It was all sand and flats, but we started making deliveries. Toby Tillett operated a boat called the Barcelona, and he actually had a ramp that he cranked up with a hand winch that he dropped down, and he would get as close into the shore as he could get, and you drive your car or your truck up on the ferry. He didn't have any regular schedules. You called him, and he would tell you when he could take you. When you got to Rodanthe, there was a paved road. That was the single paved road, so actually when you, even after you got to Rodanthe, when you were carrying the materials to the person's house, you still had to drive up in the sand. I retired from Kellogg's Supply Company on March 31st, 1990, which gave me exactly 42 years to the day. I would say by 51, I was a member of the fire department. The first time that they talked with me about being chief of the department, I said, not as long as Raymond Westcott lives will I be chief. He'll be chief. I don't mind being assistant chief, but I'll not be chief as long as Raymond lives, and we'll accept it. Well, he was a chief when he died. And shortly after that, which would have been in mid-50s, is when I became chief of the fire department. And I was the last chief of the Manteo Fire Department and the first chief of the Roanoke Island Volunteer Fire Department. My grandfather, Adam Etheridge, he, John T. Daniels, well, the actual crew from the Kitty Hawk Coast Guard Station assisted the Wright brothers. My grandmother actually did some of the sewing onto the gliders that they worked with. I know when they first built the little building over at Hill Devil Hill, that they said was a replica of the house that the Wright brothers lived in when they were here. Went in, the first thing she said when I opened the door and went in, she says, oh no, this is not the way it really was. She was pretty well set in her way and didn't mind saying, I can tell you exactly how it was, and then you can't tell me because I was here, you weren't.